I want to make a few quick thank yous. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. We really appreciated it. And specifically, I want to thank people that helped contribute to make this wonderful simcha, this wonderful bris possible. So first of all, I want to thank Rabbi Shaul, who drove in all the way from Dallas. His commitment and his craftsmanship last bris guaranteed we bring him in for this bris. Thank you. I want to thank both Abba and Ima Wolbe and Abba and Ima Florence for coming in, for contributing so tremendously to this simcha. Of course, my brother Rabbi Arya and Zahava Wolbe, they worked tirelessly setting up and making this place beautiful. Thank you so much. And of course, all their children, but most specifically, Dovi, Meira, and Shlomo, who worked last night till this morning, really, to midnight, setting up everything, making everything look beautiful. I want to thank Moshe and Zvi Amram, who flew in all the way from New Jersey to join us here. Not only that, they brought tons of food, so if you're enjoying it, you have them to thank. Schlepping tables, if you're enjoying that, thank you. I want to thank Rabbi Avram Yakobian and Rabbi Daniel Masri of Bet Rambam and Torah Chesed for donating the tables. We ordered tables, but they didn't come in time, shockingly. Thank you. I want to thank Racheli Florence for buying food all the way in Lakewood. She's not here, but thank you. Rebbetzin Uzan, she made the fantastic cheesecake. Thank you so much. Rebbetzin Freeman and Susan made platters. Thank you so much. Rabbi Aaron Berger made the eggs this morning. Thank you. Ariella, Tooney, and Raquel from TGA, who set up and made platters, worked tirelessly last night. And thank you also, Rabbi Nagel, for hosting Rabbi Shaul. And also, if I forgot you, I apologize. I made an incomplete list. So during the bris, we say a few brachos. There's a bracha, of course, like we say for every mitzvah. To make it, you put up a zuzah, you say a bracha. You do a bris milah, you say a bracha. But then there's another bracha that we say, another blessing that we say, which is it's kind of dissimilar. It's kind of like, it seems a little bizarre. And the blessing goes, it's actually the blessing that the Father makes. The blessing goes, La'achniso b'riso shel Avraham Avinu, to enter the child into the covenant, into the bris of Avraham Avinu. Essentially what we're saying is like this: Avraham Avinu began something fantastic, a movement. Right? He discovered monotheism on his own. He used his own mental faculties to discover Emunah. He's the father of our faith. And not only did he discover it, but he took on the task of disseminating, of teaching the world about Torah. And you know what? He went around and gave lectures. He would go to town halls and town squares and start having debates and polemics and telling people about God. And he would overwhelm them with his logic. And you know what they would do? They didn't like it. So in a sea of paganism, we have Avraham Avinu coming and teaching the world about this one invisible, all-powerful God. And he transformed the world more than anyone else did all of human history. But he began a movement in the face of tremendous opposition. They tried to throw him in a fire. They tried to kill him. He began a movement that continues to this day. And the Almighty told him that his kids are going to be the chosen people. The Jewish nation were chosen because we're the ones who are going to finish what Abraham started. He accepted upon himself and upon the rest of his descendants to teach the world about God. And indeed, if you're a Jew today, what it means is that you have accepted upon yourself the responsibility, the mantle of responsibility of leadership that Avraham Avinu started years ago. Right? We are the ones who are responsible for fulfilling the Abrahamic destiny in the world. And you know what? It wasn't always easy. And we faced tremendous opposition and resistance. And by the way, this mitzvah of Bris Milah, which symbolizes us being entered in this fraternity of Avraham Avinu, this mitzvah, more than any other mitzvah, was prosecuted. The reason why we were prosecuted for the Greeks, of course, in antiquity, the Romans as well, and even recently in the Soviet Union, they said on pain of death you can't give your kid a circumcision. Do you know why? Because this is what makes us special. This is the symbol of being a Jew, of being part of what Abraham began. And we accept upon ourselves this responsibility, even if we face tremendous pressure, even if the climate is not right for change. We are the ones who are going to do it. And in 8 days, we take a child, brand new, and we say, you're part of this fraternity. We make the symbol of Judaism, you're one of us now. and you have the responsibility of the entire world on your shoulders. If we don't do it, no one else will. The entire world depends upon this. Now, when we look about Avram Avinu, if you look at the Torah, so we have Avram Avinu, of course, he's the paragon of intellect. He's a debater. He's an innovator with ideas, right? He taught us about faith, about monotheism, about emunah, about God. And you open up the Torah, what do you see? You see chesed, 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 chesed. All you see is kindness. He has 3 angels masquerading as pagans, and he turns over the world, even though he's with tremendous agony, to help them. Right? He is interceding on behalf of Sodom. Right? Sodom, they stood for everything that Abraham opposed. And he worked tirelessly to try to intercede upon the behalf to save them. Right? He had chesed, kindness for everyone. And my grandfather asked the question, Abraham, right, ostensibly should be the paragon of emunah, of faith. The Torah should describe him as going from town hall to town hall and arguing and debating and proving and writing books and innovating in the form of intellectual dissemination of God. Yet we see chesed, and it seems to be a little bit incongruent that someone would, as we know historically, be so tremendously transformative with regards to emunah, and yet we present him with regards to mitzvos and behavior. So my grandfather said a tremendous insight. He said like this: real emunah is a transformation of a human. Right? We start off life as being selfish. I spoke about this Friday night. You take a little baby, right? What do they care about? Only themselves. If it's in the middle of the night, it's 3 in the morning, and they're hungry, you know what they do? They scream and scream and scream until they get their food. And then what, did they say thank you afterwards? No. Right? Their concerns, right, their only concerns are their own physical well-being. That's the way we all start off life. And you know what? If you live in that kind of world, there's no room for God, and there's no room for other people. When your mother's upset, the child doesn't care. It doesn't matter. All they care about is themselves. And my grandfather likened this to someone being in a box, like in a sealed box. Okay? No windows, no doors, no lights. All they have is themselves. And then if you're able to crack open a window, make a small window, what do you see? You see the grass, you see the flowers, you see the trees, you see the people, you see the sky, you see the clouds, you see everything. If we live in our hearts, if we close up our hearts and seal it off and have just ourselves in our world, then we don't have emunah, we don't have faith in God, and we don't have chesed either. We don't see the other people as well. We're selfish, we're self-centered. All we care about is ourselves. If we can transform ourselves and open ourselves to God, like Abraham did, it will automatically be manifest in chesed. So the Torah is telling us is that Avram Avinu didn't have theoretical, he wasn't a theologian. He didn't have ideas that he just wrote down. It penetrated into who he was. Because he opened up his heart as wide as an auditorium, there was room for God, there was room for other people. And that's the emunah, that's the mandate upon us. Yes, we need to change the world. We need to fulfill the Abrahamic destiny. We need to continue what Abraham began and teach the world about God. But what kind of emunah is demanded upon us? It's emunah that is manifest in behavior. If you see someone who's a true product of Avram Avinu, you'll see how he behaves. And his behavior is very different because of his emunah. It's one thing. Once you do one, you're guaranteed, it's mandated that you'll have the other. And I think that these 2 points of Avram Avinu, I think we could look at the people that we named the child after, Yitzchok Aaron, 2 grandfathers, well, Chaya's grandfather and my grandfather. And I'm thinking about this last night, and I'm thinking, like, what do I say about these people? Any stories? I don't have any of these cute little stories. But I thought that of my grandfather, so my mother's father, Rabbi Yitzchok Shpira, Zatzal, Yitzchok Isaac. I couldn't think of a single bad mitzvah that he had. I couldn't think of even one. And who's like that? Everyone you know has bad mitzvahs, right? Well, maybe not everyone, but how is it possible that someone, I can't think of a single bad thing, and I may be able to do that with other people. How is it possible? The answer is that this is a product of Avram Avinu. This is someone who his Yiddishkeit, his Judaism, wasn't just surface level, it transformed who he was. And I was thinking that My father-in-law's father, Reb Aaron Florence, was someone that was like that as well. No one could have a bad word to say about him. Sterling character, just wonderful and warm, and I couldn't think of one bad thing about that person. And to me, like, this is an example of someone who really is influenced by the way Jews are supposed to be by what Avraham Avinu started. We're not just a religion that has tremendous ideology, tremendous theology, that we can argue and we're right and we can debate, and no, we are people who are influenced by what we know. Right? It transforms our behavior as well, like Avraham Avinu. And not only that, these are people that are both Holocaust survivors. And we know a lot of Holocaust survivors, even ones that grew up in very observant, very religious families, they saw the atrocities and their whole families were ravaged and their communities and everyone they knew was destroyed. And they asked the question, where's God? And it's a very legitimate question, a very serious question. We have to address that maybe, very sensitively. But a lot of people abandoned God. And when we look at Avraham Avinu, he also faced resistance. It wasn't easy for him. He faced tremendous opposition, but he stood by his principles through thick and thin. And I think the two people that we named after were people that, who knows if we could have done the same, but this is an example of someone sticking to their principles, to their emunah, to what they believed in, and to the big universal vision that the Jewish people have had, and come to America and rebuild a family l'shem l'siferis. And my bracha to the Rachanimol, to the young baby, to Yitzchok Aaron Wolbe, that sounds weird, but we'll get used to it, I guess, is that he should take, this is the day of Lachnisa Bris Sham Avinu. It's not just, one and done. The Gemara says in the Dharam that Bris Milah is beginning, right? But it's Yom V'Layla. Bris is Yom V'Layla. Chutrash Ma'am V'Laris L'Samti. Bris is only by day. How we say Yom V'Layla? The answer is that it starts here, but it continues for the rest of the world. So my bracha to the new baby is that, influenced, of course, by this great namesakes, his antecedents, and by the idea of Bris Milah, that he should be someone who's fulfills, who's an example of this quality that Avraham Avinu taught us. Yes, it's about emunah, of course, but it's a complete package, right? You have what you believe and how you behave, and not only that, to be able to withstand all the challenges with the same indomitable commitment and resolute commitment that they did. Thank you so much, and Mazel Tov.